Call this regular council meeting of May 26, 2014 to order. Mr. Lee.
Council, if you'd join me in a moment of silent reflection. Amen.
Amen. And the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Roll call. Here. Dries.
Here.
Halter.
Here.
Hermes.
Here.
Lee.
Here.
Walther. Moore.
Here. And we have an excused absence from Councilmember Walther. Okay, have the approval of minutes for the April 22nd, 2014 regular council meeting, the May 6th, 2014 special council meeting, the May 13th, 2014 public hearing and special council meeting and work session.
Mr. Mayor, move that we approve the minutes as presented that you previously mentioned.
Second it.
Okay, questions or comments, corrections?
In the April 22nd meeting, on page 6, where it says Chief Brodelman and the municipal manager, it should be the accreditation manager will attend the commission on accreditation. It's the third bullet point.
Is that the April
22nd.
22nd?
Okay, anything else?
On the May 6th, I just noticed on the first line it says Tuesday instead of Tuesday. Just a typo, sorry.
Don't be sorry.
On May 6th, it says Tuesday instead of Tuesday on the first line.
Okay.
Anything else?
That's all I got.
Okay, hearing none other, minutes are approved. Okay. And we had on the agenda update on golf course. Not here.
I don't see Mr. Suggs. Maybe I'll talk on his behalf, which should be a scary thing for him. But in the winter time, the golf course often is dormant, but that doesn't mean that there's not activities going on with regard to the golf course. And that's usually a time for planning and not only just what goes on physically at the golf course, but special events. And that was, in fact, done this past winter. And on a Saturday, and I can't remember, it was late March or early April, Joel had a crew of regular golfers there and volunteers, and just a massive amount of work gets done in one day, of cutting down trees that are dead, clearing out areas that need to be cleared out, re-edging, and so that took place. And the golf course has taken some changes under his leadership. There's 3 different types of teeing grounds now, where you can experience different types of turf. He has set up multiple courses so that you can play the traditional course, but if you want to work on hitting draws or fades, you can do that. He's set up a course where you can play various holes without having to walk the hills if you have bad knees. He's set up holes where or on every hole he's now put an additional cup on the hole if it's a beginner golfer. I think a standard cup is 4 1/4, 4.5 inches. They seem really small when you're standing over the ball, but there's 8-inch holes there. So if someone's just learning the game, they can putt to the larger hole, which will maybe avoid some of the frustration of lots of missed putts. It's a great place to learn how to play. It's a great place to practice. And you can still buy a single membership or a family membership. And he has it set up so that if there's no one there, you slide your credit card through the slot and you can head out and play. It's a great facility, and I just wanted him to come and highlight what was going on there, and the following was my feeble attempt to do so in his stead. But if he comes, we'll give him time to clear up anything I missed. There is an event Memorial Day weekend. If you're a golfer, you just ought to go up and
Was yesterday.
Oh, that's right. There was, and there'll be other events through the year. So if you're a golfer, go on up and see them and play. It's, like I said, it's a treasure, and it's a great place to play.
Well, that mistake, it segues into what I want to say right now. There was something that he emailed to us, and that the Greenhills Summer Junior Golf League starts on Friday, June 6th. Boys and girls ages from 9 to 17 play on Fridays at 9 a.m. with the league and can stay and play all day for one green fee. League days run from June 6th through August 1st. And also to give him a call if you want to register at 589-3585.
Thanks, Greg.
Okay. Now's the time for residents to address council. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the lectern, give your name and address, then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 2 minutes. Anyone? No? Okay. Moving on, reports of village officials, Municipal Manager Yvonne Kovac.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Didn't think I'd be up so quick. Gosh, we have on your agenda tonight, there's a resolution regarding the street repair and maintenance levy. This again is the first step in that process where we simply request that the auditor provide us with a specific, their projection of what it would generate. Then once council gets that information, you can make the decision on if you want to put that on the ballot or not. Again, currently it's a 1.5 mils, which is 15 cents for every $100 of valuation. On a $100,000 value, that would be $15 a year. So if your home is worth more, it'd be a little more than $15, worth less, it'd be less than $15. So for the village, it generates about $38,000 annually. And again, that does go into our street maintenance account, which is what we use for our matching funds. For example, like the Winton Road project that we just received word would be funded. So
You were pretty excited about that.
I was very excited about it.
Because you got the full
Yes.
amount, right, that you were looking for?
For our request,
Yeah.
right. Mhm.
That was awesome.
Sure did.
But it requires the matching.
Right.
Yes.
We have a hefty match with
Yeah.
that, but yeah, definitely worth taking. Wanted to let you know that the 67 Drummond project, sale does close this Thursday, so that's moving forward. The other one had a 30-day, so we're not quite there yet. Opening day at the pool was this past weekend. First 2 days were okay. Yesterday was huge. Very, very well attended and standing room only apparently. For those who didn't have a chair, we do have more on order. But there's still probably about 3 weeks before they're going to get here, so we will have more chairs.
How's the situation with the pump?
The pump, we were able to, Swim Safe did locate a part for our large pump, and that will be fixed this week, and the slide should be operational. What they were able to do is get the pump off of the slide, and that was adequate to be circulating the pool. Actually surprised everybody. For such a small pump, it was pumping a lot of water. But that will be put back on the slide. The main pump will be fixed, and it should all be good.
Good,
So it was
good.
just one of those things you just never know when it's going to happen. But fortunately, they were able to come up with a solution for us to be able to open, and especially since it turned out to be such good weather.
Yeah.
So that went well. And let's see, what else? We have Pioneer Day coming up, and I'm going to put together an article for the Journal on that, because we will be having it. That's July 5th. The parade will be, it's the usual lineup. It'll be the Kiwanis Run first, followed by the parade, followed by the festival. The festival, we do have Claire Gray working on that, the event coordinator, and we're trying to replicate things from like the 1930s, games, things people might have done then. There's going to be a petting zoo for sure at this point in time. A couple other things that I'll outline in the article. We are looking for, as always, volunteers, sponsors. We're going to try to match up sponsors with specific booths, especially some nonprofits that might not have the money to pay for their booth. She's doing a great job already at getting items from the silent auction, a real wide array of items, which is great. So just know that we're working on it, and if you have questions or anything, we'll just try to keep the information flowing on that. I wanted to mention that trees, since we last met, Alan Bunker, our arborist, has been through the entire village marking trees. And if you see a red dot, that means it's going to be pruned. If you see a yellow dot or orange dot, I call them yellow, they're really orange, that means the tree's going to be pruned. Red dot removal, orange dot prune. Sorry if I said that wrong. We're having a lot of people surprised at some of them that are being tagged for removal. But the reason for that is Alan's concerned about saying, well, prune it this year. Pruning costs about as much as removal. And he said, because those are the trees that I may tell you to prune it this year, but I will be telling you to take it down next year. I mean, he knows to look for the signs of failing health on the part of the trees. You know, he can see when it's happening and know what's inevitable there. So we do have a pretty hefty list. Don't know how many of them we'll be able to afford with our tree assessment money, but we'll take it as far as we can and still leave money for a fall planting, which we weren't able to do last fall. And so that list is going to be even bigger too than anticipated once we do more removals. So wanted to let you know where that stood.
And in general, that tree assessment produces 38...
About 37,000 a year.
Okay, and we use about 20 on removal and about 10 on replanting, and the rest goes to
Like
other...
emergencies, things like that.
Okay.
Yes,
And
it's pretty tight.
it's important for residents to remember, some of these trees that were planted when the village was constructed are now 75 years old, and they have a lifespan too. And even though they're big, gorgeous trees, they're not all going to last forever. And so this is part of our regular maintenance of our canopy.
That's correct.
There was something that came up along that same lines in discussion that the trees that are the village plants and the planting strip, residents should water that. I mean, I know when they first go in, they have the little
Gator bags.
gator bags on, but it's up to the individuals if they enjoy the shade and the beauty of the trees, and step up and take care of them too. So.
Well, I think in what you're saying too, Jack, it's really our responsibility to maintain that portion of yard from the sidewalk to the curb. We have to mow the lawn and that type of thing, so we really have to take care of the trees. That's our responsibility. We don't have to plant trees or remove them, which is awesome, but just to take care of them, maintenance-wise, it's what we should do.
Sure.
A couple more things. I want to mention first I'll mention, I'm sure you all know that we're going to be losing our finance director, so we are have an advertisement out for applicants for that position. We are in our tax budget season, and we have a hearing set up for, I believe the date is July 8th on that, so that process is moving forward as well.
When does Kim leave?
June, I'm sorry, I think June 13th will be her last day.
Okay.
And I think that's it for now. There was something else I was going to mention, but if I think of it, I'll let you know. I can't remember what it was. Oh, I know, the movie. I
was gonna do that.
Covered, never mind, that's it for me. Thank you.
Any questions of the manager? Okay, Law Director, Jeff Forbes.
Thank you. Just a couple of things. This is my usual, report on the status of the municipal income tax reform bill. Actually, it's into the Senate now, and just today, this afternoon, was the very first hearing in the committee. But that hearing was just for the proponents to address the committee, so there hasn't been any opponent hearings yet, so I'm sure those will be scheduled. So it is moving forward. On a related note, but on a separate bill, there was what they call a mid-biennial review. It's a budget bill, kind of a midterm budget bill that was passed by the House that went to the Senate. And the Senate passed it, but after they inserted one little section in there that was not in the House version that has to do with municipal income tax, which, if it stays, would now require municipalities that have an income tax to report to the state a breakdown of the income tax revenue that you get by resident versus non-resident, which I don't, well, I guess we have Rita, and I'm not sure what their software is like, but most municipalities that administer their own income tax have said, we don't
collect that data.
We don't do it like that. So we don't, it's just another, element from the state telling you how to administer your municipal income tax. What is expected is that, the House passed it, it went to the Senate, and the Senate passed it, but they added this new section. So whenever they do that, it has to go back to the House to see if the House will agree with that new section. It's anticipated that the House will not agree with it, and then they create what's called a conference committee where they get some people from the House, some people from the Senate, they get together and they get to hash out how the final version turns out. So, we will continue to watch it. You're in I guess, a better position than some just because you have an outside agency do that administration.
I read something on that, and the person from Rita commented that it seems very simple that you would be able to capture that data, but it's not so simple.
It's not simple, right, and it has to do with,
Is that related to the JEDs somehow?
On its face, no. It's completely separate from JEDs, but the statute regulating JEDs is in all likelihood about to be amended too. That's in the Senate as well. But you're right, and when you think about businesses that do the withholding, when the employer does the withholding and then submits it, it gets to be very complicated trying to figure out who is a resident, who's not a resident.
Yeah, I think the sticky part is if someone works for a business that's in the village and also lives within the village and the employer sends the money to Rita, then there's no way to know that this person lived in the village.
Right.
I mean, it's fairly apparent if I live in the village and I work downtown that my resident tax is coming from.
The other issue that I've heard with respect to this is, and this isn't the case for Greenhills, but some municipalities, their municipal income tax code says that if you don't have any tax liability, that you don't have to file. But we have a mandatory filing requirement, whether you have a tax liability or not, you have to file at least. Those places that don't have mandatory filing would likely have to adopt mandatory filing, or they'd have no way of figuring out the actual breakdown of, citizen versus resident versus non-resident. So in any event, just wanted to let you know those things are sort of weaving their way through the State House right now, and we will continue to watch them.
Okay. Clerk of Council, Catherine Lives.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All of the following were posted as required. The May 2014 Community Calendar, the council public hearing notice on for 5/13/14, notice of the special council meeting on 5/6/14, resolution numbers 08CD, 09CD, and 03F, and notice of the cancellation of the Streets and Services meeting of May 19th. And if there are no questions, that would conclude my report.
Hearing no questions, Chief of Police Neil Fertelman.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. On the 25th of last month, the first of our 4 new video cameras were installed. The difference in clarity when we reviewed the tapes was just absolutely amazing. It's the difference between night and day. Our old systems operated using VHS tapes, so it may not take much to realize the difference of digital video now. The first system is up and running. We were able to get 3 additional systems with a little bit more dated media. Instead of a thumb drive, it will use a DVD, but it's still light years ahead of the VHS systems that we had. We were able to get that at a very, very substantially reduced rate. So we anticipate that we'll have all 4 units up and running within the next month or 2. We did, as you know, on April 29th, receive our assessment report from CALEA, the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement Agencies. Probably the most important note in there was that the assessors reviewed all standards and found the agency to be in compliance. It was readily apparent to the assessors that agency practices meet the intent of the CALEA accreditation process, and that the agency uses accreditation as a means of implementing best practices. And as I've gotten to know our officers over the past year, this sentence meant a lot to me in that it says, the officers are well-trained and capable. Officers observe demonstrated professionalism in their appearance, demeanor, and performance. And I've certainly found that to be the case as well. On May 7th, we had a graduation from the Supervisors Training and Education Program. It was in Columbus. It's sponsored by the Law Enforcement Foundation, and our own Sergeant Tim Lukes was a graduate of that session. We had our Community Shred Day recently. That occurred on May 10th. It started at 10 a.m. We had folks waiting on us, and it was a steady pace during the entire event. We had a police officer there that assisted. Chief Space firefighters were there, and notably a deputy chief of his. It's a former mayor that was just an Energizer bunny, and I think he probably carried more boxes and bags than all the rest of us put together. We did destroy a total of 6,279 pounds of documents on that date. And just as a reminder to those who might be watching, we do have our prescription pill box in the lobby, so that's an anytime use for those. We do get a lot of questions about that, but any time of the day, particularly during the day, makes it very easy for us, and we'll assist citizens that come with that. During the month of April, we investigated 6 crimes. We had 163 other incidents. We were dispatched on 186 runs, 630 encounters were self-initiated by officers. We had 48 criminal arrests and 93 traffic arrests. We also had something that I thought was quite amazing last month. We completed our first formal composite photograph of the department since 2007. The photos were taken principally by Officer Tony Patton and Sergeant Tim Lukes. We used a formal professional background that we put in. We figured out how to do that on our software that we had without having to buy something. But most notably, a member of this council offered a tremendous amount of professional assistance. And I think we got about, maybe several $100s worth of assistance, all at the cost of about $30. And I did ask the mayor if he would indulge me, and I'm going to present something. Jeff, you'll notice this. This is a certificate of appreciation from the Office of the Chief of Police awarded to Jeff Halter, Council Member, Village of Greenhills. The Greenhills Police Department had not updated its departmental composite portrait in a number of years. With significant personnel changes and promotions, the need for a new photograph was long overdue. Typically, a professional produced composite photograph would have been well outside the budgetary reach of the department. However, Council Member Jeff Halter, the design professional, possesses great talent and superior graphics arts skills. He generously devoted his time and expertise to the Greenhills Police Department. producing an updated, professional, and top-quality composite photograph that otherwise would have been impossible for us to afford. He has given generously of his time, talent, and resources to better our department and our community. The men and women of the Greenhills Police Department are grateful for and appreciate, Jeff, your contributions to the department and to our community. We are honored to acknowledge your accomplishments, certify our appreciation, and wish you well in your future endeavors. And if there are any doubts to Jeff's skills, I snuck it up here a little bit. There it is.
Good job.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Any questions of the chief? Okay, moving on.
surprise, Jeff?
Yes, it was.
Looks great.
And they didn't ask me to make them 5 years younger or anything.
Okay. I don't see the fire chief here. Does anybody have a report for the fire department?
I'll probably mention some stuff in my
Okay.
traffic and safety.
All right. And my report, I neglected to bring the audited court receipts, which I did receive, but I cannot recall the numbers. So at the next meeting now, I have 2 months' worth of court receipts. Later under new business, I'll be asking for a motion to concur with my appointment of Mr. Dave Adams to the Planning Commission for the term expiring in 2020. With the moving of Mr. Adams from the Zoning Board of Appeals to the Planning Commission, we will have an opening on the Zoning Board of Appeals. So I'm accepting names. I have some, but I'm open to any other suggestions. And that concludes my report. Unless anybody has any questions. Okay. Hearing none. Committee reports. Finance and Audit, Mr. Dries.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. We, in fact, did not have an official Finance and Audit Committee meeting on May 13th. In order to have a quorum, we have to have us both there, and Ms. Brokaw was excused for the delivery of her child, so we are very excited to have a new resident in the community under your roof, and so congratulations to you. However, I did meet with staff, and we essentially didn't make any decisions, but we went over the same agenda that we would have if we would have had a committee meeting. And let me just hit a couple of highlights. This is budget season for us, so it's a busy time, and it's going to be a little more challenging as we're losing our fiscal officer partway through the process, but we will manage through, and she's been very willing to assist us even after she leaves if we need any help. So, but we will have a public hearing on July 8th for comments from the public on the budget. Council, we will need to pass that budget that evening. As members who have been here before know that it's the timetable is not the smoothest in that sometimes we don't even get revenue projections till after the budget has to be passed for certain things. But we will do our best, and remember that this is just a blueprint for spending, and we cannot spend a nickel till we in fact appropriate the money. We have requested preliminary tax estimates, and we are looking at 2-year history of revenue to see if we to see how we're trending and if we believe the trends will change. We also will have a tax levy renewal on the ballot in November. This is for street repair and maintenance. It's been 1.5 mils since 1979. And it's about $15 for every $100,000 of valuation, and it produces $38,000 annually. So that we'll have to start working on the legislation to get it on the ballot, and you'll see that soon. And I am advocating that we put it back on the budget, and I'm encouraging voters to pass it. Because it allows us to do things like the Phase 2 of the Winton Road project. Phase 2 would be from Farragut Road south to the township line. We have $400,000 of grant money coming to us from the SCIP fund, but we need to match that with $240,000. And we've been accumulating money to do that, but that's where this money comes from, and that's a great opportunity for us to really leverage other people's, or some other dollars. So we will be looking at that. We also need to look at the tree assessment renewal process, and that's an ordinance for 10 years with regard to that. So we'll look at that in the coming weeks. So those are the items that I talked to with staff on May 13th. We do not have at this time a Finance and Audit Committee meeting scheduled. So that's the Finance and Audit update. I asked the mayor if it would be all right to make a public service announcement regarding refuse collection, and I'm going to take the liberty of making this a broad announcement. One of the things that makes our community unique is the beauty of our community, the community pride that we have, the way we take care of our places of residence, whether you're an owner or whether you're a tenant. And other people before me on council have said it's a good exercise to walk out your front door, walk across the street and look back at your home and say, is this something that contributes to the neighborhood or takes away from the neighborhood? And I've been concerned about a declining attention to refuse collection, and I'm going to expand that a little bit to include grass cutting, or noxious weeds as we call them in the legislation. And I just want to remind residents that all premises and exterior property shall be maintained free from weeds or plant growth in excess of 8 inches. We've had some already, and typically what happens is you get a notice, and if it's not taken care of, it's cut, and then it's put on your property tax. And I had pointed one out to the manager that I thought was way beyond 8 inches. The manager had already seen it, and by the time the council meeting was over, it was cut. And I sent her a little text message saying, way to go, looks like you're on top of this. But it is 8 inches. And I would say, we have some elderly folks that may not be as sharp as they were one day. And if they're struggling to keep up their lawns, maybe a few neighbors come together and take care of it for them. But we will be diligent in foreclosed properties, going after banks. We'll be diligent in going after absentee landlords. We'll be diligent in enforcing this code as long as I see it. And if I get there before the manager, we'll go after it. The other thing that's kind of sticking in the council's craw is regarding trash pickup. And correct me if I speak incorrectly on this, Ms. Kovac, but it's not appropriate for anybody to see trash cans laying around Friday morning, Saturday morning, Sunday morning when trash pickup is on Wednesday. And let me just highlight the two things that I see most often, and then I'll talk about how enforcement is done. We have a regulation with regard to containers. Standard containers for waste shall be galvanized steel or other non-rusting material of substantial construction with tight-fitting lids, watertight, and of a capacity of not more than 35 gallons or 75 pounds total weight. Large capacity waste wheelers may be obtained from the village at cost. Plastic bags may be used and only be set out on waste collection day, but plastic bags may not be used for outside storage. So if you are going to put out plastic bags, don't put them out the night before, because the raccoons from Winton Woods all know that you just did that, and then your trash is everywhere. So the reason for that ordinance is so that we don't have to clean up after raccoons. So if you're going to use plastic bags, they have to go out on the day of waste collection, which is Wednesday morning. The other one is with regard to setting out removal and care of containers. Containers may be set out after 3 p.m. the day before collection. That's Tuesday right now. They shall be placed as close to the curb as possible. After emptying, all containers shall be removed from the streets by 11 p.m. on the day of collection. All containers should be kept clean and disinfected. No garbage shall be set out for collection in open containers. Those are the two that I see most often, and I have asked the manager to make sure that we are enforcing these. Typically, the enforcement process is as follows. On the first violation at your address, you get a letter, and that letter says on such and such a time, the following violations were found, and it's checked. And a copy of the ordinances with regard to trash collection are attached to the letter so that you can see what it is. You don't get fined, you don't go to jail, you don't get handcuffed or fingerprinted, you just get a letter. The second offense, you get a certified letter. And then the third offense, you start having penalties, and this is a minor misdemeanor for each violation. And we also give you a little outline of all the code requirements in the letter. So if you write a check for your violation, you've been warned once with a letter, the second time with a certified letter. And if you get a letter and go, I've done this for 30 years, I always pick up my cans, I don't know what happened and I left them out for 4 days. If you do this once every 30 years, you're going to be in good shape. Don't panic. But for people that are leaving them out habitually, we are going to enforce this rigidly. So those are my comments on trash and grass. I did have two other items. The question that I get asked most recently about what's going on in the community is, when will the Butt Shack be able to serve alcoholic beverages? And being that it's warm out, I stopped on my way up here this evening to ask that, and they do now have their liquor license. So if you would like to get a cold adult beverage at the Butt Shack, which is Greenhills' newest restaurant, and I can enthusiastically endorse their food, you may also now be able to get a cold beverage with your...
How long were you down there, and did you endorse?
I did not imbibe before, but I am considering stopping on the way home just to make sure that their product is of high quality. And then the last thing, yesterday was in fact Memorial Day. I did know that, and I was away and with friends and just had a little bit of time to read, and I was reading Tom Brokaw's book on the Greatest Generation, and it made me think, do we do enough to thank our veterans and those that have served? And if you didn't get a chance to thank somebody that served, there's a lot of people in our community that served in various ways, and it would be really good just to thank them and appreciate what they've done and the sacrifice that they've made so that we can live the way that we do. So those are my comments. Sorry that I was a little long-winded tonight, but I want to get it all in.
Any questions or comments?
Actually, I'd like to bring up one comment. I appreciate, and we really should be, and we are enforcing the whole garbage can thing. Any ideas on how to enforce the trash out the window? I don't recommend some of the methods I've tried where I've actually stopped and said, hey, why did you throw that out the window? Not confrontational, but I don't know, but I've got to believe it is discouraging where someone's saying, you're asking me to pull the trash can in, and we've got a McDonald's bag to the left and a Pepsi bottle to the right. It doesn't lessen our responsibility. I just like to encourage the community to abide by the zoning, but also don't be afraid to pick up some extra trash and throw it in there. I think it goes a long way to making this a really beautiful place and letting that shine through and not getting tripped up by what's along the streets at times, so.
Okay. No other questions? Intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm glad I don't have to carry on with vermin, pestilence, and disease. You missed those, Mr. Dries. Under intergovernmental affairs, laws and rules, we had a committee meeting on April 28th to discuss a proposed nuisance ordinance. The issue was tabled to the June 13th meeting, where we will meet with NIC and look at current practices for code violation inspections and that sort of thing. I know various council members attended the community meetings regarding school facilities that took place earlier in May. I believe Councilperson Walther was at all three, so if there's something that came up at a particular meeting, I'm sure you could address concerns or questions of her. There was also a meeting held where the superintendent of schools provided an outlook for the district. There's a videotape on the district website, so if you're interested in that, you can take a look at that. Other than that, Mr. Mayor, I have nothing more to report.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. Service and Streets Committee, you have anything that you want to report from Maria?
No, there was no meeting held this past week. There wasn't really too much to talk about in reference to Yvonne or Mike bringing something to the table. So I wasn't at the previous meeting on that Monday morning at 9 or something. So as far as I'm sure, she emailed us some information. Just I'm sure she'll update us on next month.
Okay.
Mr. Hermes, if I might add, she always reminds residents to put Greenhills when they renew their license to make sure that we get the tax revenue from the.
I think Bud Walterman should be here to say that.
Well,
That's right.
Bud's
That's what I do. Record it. Here, Bud.
Okay, any other questions? Moving on, Community Development, Councilmember Halter.
Yes, first I do want to thank the chief. It's amazing to me, at times I get up and down as far as encouragement goes, and sometimes kind words couldn't come at a better time in light of all the other things that seem to be flying around us at times. But I really appreciate it, and it's easy to do for a great department like yours. So, and then Yvonne had something on community development. I thought she could lead with it.
Right, forgot to mention, but want to let you know that a third, the two sites that we already talked about at Potter Hill, they started construction.
Right.
They started digging. A third set of plans now have been submitted for another one on Lot 6.
Wow.
So we're very excited about that. I failed to mention that.
Is that, in your opinion, is that a direct result of the economy improving, or is it the CRA?
It's a CRA.
CRA?
I'm pretty sure that really helped.
Good.
And then we had our design and beautification meeting on May 22nd. We had to shift it by a week, I believe. And a good meeting, enthusiastic group that's looking forward to making an impact this summer. If any residents are interested in joining our design and beautification group, it meets once a month, the first Thursday typically. The next one will be on June 5th. I sent out a one call today to remind people about movie night this Friday. It's going to be at the Farmers Market, at 8:30, and just doesn't roll off my tongue, but the movie is Adventures in Zambezia. You don't know how many times I had to run through that and say it within my allotted 45 seconds. It is a G-rated movie. Please bring lawn chairs and blankets. There'll be popcorn and drinks for sale. No alcoholic beverages, please. And 8:30 at the farmer's market. If it does rain, it has to really rain, not pretend to rain. We'll look at an alternate date, I think is how we left it. But we're excited to get this rolling, and if we can grow it in size and the enthusiasm's there, we'll look at possibly putting it on the common or a larger venue. Let's see what else I have. Coming up will be Community Day at the pool. Looking for volunteers to help out with that. Got a lot of positive feedback from the last time that we conducted it. And it's on June 14th, Saturday, June 14th, starting at noon. So if you're interested in volunteering, either call the office or you can email me through the website. It does it for community development.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
Comments. Also, I guess just on the recreation for the movies on the market stand, there's actually going to be 3 other ones that are going to be happening in June, July, and August. So there's going to be one a month during the summertime, so it's going to be pretty exciting.
Okay. All right. Traffic and Safety, Councilmember Brokaw.
Yes, we had our meeting today. We discussed some of the old business. We discussed the noise ordinance, which I'll bring up under new business for this meeting. We also, Chief Futterman updated us on CLIA, but he's done a wonderful job of updating us here as well. Also, both the chief and the manager are working on the police ordinance, updating that as well. As soon as that's updated, we'll get it over to the law director to get it updated in our ordinance book as well. For the fire department, unfortunately, the brush truck, which was supposed to be delivered late May, has been delayed again. Ford has not yet started production, so it is anyone's guess when it will be completed. And also the firehouse painting project, there has been a little bit of a snag. The east wall, which is the side closest to the shopping center, there's a spider web, needs to be media blasted, so it needs some major prep work before it can be painted. And then also on, that's east, is that the north side? Is that where the wall?
East side.
It's also the east side. The concrete apron has dropped 2 inches since the fall, so it's the building is fine. It's just the concrete apron and other man-made objects are sliding by Ireland, and it needs to be shored up. So we are gonna, the manager will be looking at, and the chief will be looking at quotes on how much that's going to cost, and hopefully we'll be able to keep it a reasonable price, which is still going to be pretty expensive. So that does not need to be done before the painting. It's just something that was brought to our attention because of, if you notice it, you can notice it. And then also, we also mentioned the hydrant for training. Chief Spade and Ms. Kovac are going to go out and look at locations to see if they can figure it out. Right now, they are going off outside of the village to do the training, but we would like the training to be within Greenhills if we can, as long as it doesn't contribute to any more erosion of our infrastructure. So they're going to look behind the white building again, and also to see what they can figure out before we get any further, to try and keep the training in Greenhills if possible. New business, the police chief brought up the monthly report. We discussed the cruiser updates. Of the 5, there's 2 in poor condition, 2 in fair condition, and 1 in good condition. It's exciting to know that 1 is in good condition. So we have also, we'll be directing that to the finance committee as well to make sure we can look to replace at least the 2 that are in poor condition and get some kind of schedule so that we have a rotation so that we don't get hit with 2 at a time again. They are working on getting the ID card maker up and running. They just have to do a couple more things so we can get our ID cards for council members. And then we just discussed some parking issues. And then the fire department, the EMT students that we mentioned, the 7 students will be done mid-June. The fire department is also sponsoring the July 23rd concert on the Commons. I can't remember who the band is, but
July 13th,
23rd.
23rd, Bulliet Creek. They're new this year.
Okay. So
It's a 5-piece band
Oh,
from
be fun.
hometown.
They will have a presence at Pioneer Days, the fire department. Everyone has seen them out and about. There have been some signs up for recruiting for the volunteer fire department. So if anyone's interested, we do encourage you to call Chief Spade. Just in conversation, we discussed solar panels on homes and apparently, or in any building, and what kind of nature it involves with fire and emergency calls. And Chief Spade is aware of a couple, is on top of it, and as always, his priority is on the training and emergency runs within the village. Our next meeting will be on Tuesday, June 24th at 5:30. We will continue to have our meetings held on the 4th Tuesday of the month at 5:30 prior to our council meetings. So that is it. And I missed last meeting because I did have a baby the 14th, so she's precious. So
And what's her name?
Michaela Brooke Hermes, so me and my fiance.
And what did she weigh?
Grandpa over there. She was 6 pounds, 12 ounces,
How long?
20 1/4 inches long.
Yeah, baby.
And she is currently over her birth weight, so I'm very excited that she is gaining weight.
Yay.
Congratulations.
Yes.
She's perfect.
Any other questions or comments?
One of the few valid excuses for not being here.
Okay. Recreation and cable television, Councilmember Hermes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, more affirmation, Mr. Halter. In the 2 years that I've been on council with Jeff Halter,
I hope this has to do with recreation.
it does. No. And everything that Jeff gets involved with, he goes in, jumps in 100%. And it inspires me. He makes me want to be a better council person and being involved. And that feels good. So I just, to me, it's the person who loves the village as much as he does and shows it. That's inspiring. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows there's a lot of really deep feelings here, and I think a lot of people feel that way of you being involved and how much you do get involved with Greenhills and love Greenhills. So I think it's cool.
I appreciate it.
And I thank you for that. Okay, recreation meeting. I was not able to attend on May 20th because I was golfing. And then, but on May 20th, there was a recreation meeting, and they went over the finances. I gave them some information that Yvonne had given me, and as far as what kind of monies were in the rec levy and that type of thing, to see what they had to work with, or what they could do with some of the financing. Doug Kohler had also was working on finishing up the mission statement. He was hoping to have it ready in June. He's going over the record of ordinances from the Recreation Commission from the past, knowing that things have changed, just kind of updating it and getting more of today. Discuss also having a new light for the park, the new park that's out there installed, just so we can have some illumination there where the new park was installed.
Actually, it's been ordered.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Cool.
it'll be, and it's actually going to be a double light off of a single pole.
Okay.
It's, everything's like 6 to 8
There we go,
weeks,
Doug.
but
Right.
it's been ordered, so.
Awesome.
it's just
Thank
a
you very much.
waiting time now.
And they also discussed about going to Burley Park, it needs some revitalization over the years. I mean, I used to live on Bachman, and, it was kind of down then. I just had a little basketball court and that type of thing, but after the survey that was put out 3 years ago, that we put out, it showed that the citizens wanted to have the parks updated and fixed. So the Rec Commission plans on going over there to Burley Park just to kind of check it out and kind of get some ideas of what we can do to kind of revitalize it a little bit. So that's our next location. And then, Concert on the Commons. Mr. Miller is an awesome man. We have 12 of them, 4 each month. It's unbelievable how he gets all this stuff together. Definitely has some new talent here. He's got 5, 6 different new talent people coming in. He's got for sure some of the old regulars that people have always been impressed with. And it's always closing off with the Greenhills Post 5:30 band at the end, which is going to be at September 10th. But the first one actually happens June 4th, and it's from 7 to 9, and it's out there on the Commons. So it's just great. A Greenhills Concert on the Commons. I think this is the 17th season. So hands off to Mr. Miller. Jimmy, you do a great job. And I think that's about it.
Questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. I do have a question. Do we have the concert schedule on our webpage?
Yes.
Okay, couldn't remember. All right, moving on, new business. We have an ordinance adopting Chapter 511 of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding noise control. Councilmember,
It's actually me.
you. Okay.
I would like to do the first reading by title only for ordinance number 2014-04-T&S, adopting Chapter 511 of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding noise control. That's it.
Okay. It's the first reading of ordinance number 2014-04 LNR.
T&S.
It's TNS.
TNS.
Traffic and safety.
Yes, of course. Adopting Chapter 511 of the Village of Greenhills Codified Ordinances regarding noise control. Okay. We have a resolution.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have Resolution 2014-10F, resolution requesting information from the county auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Whereas the village council has preliminarily determined that the amount of taxes which may be raised within the 5 mil limitation will be insufficient to fund necessary services provided by the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio. And whereas the primary purpose and intent of such funding is for street repair and maintenance expenses for the village as authorized by Section 5705.19A of the Ohio Revised Code. And whereas the Ohio Revised Code, Section 5705.03, requires the council to obtain certain information from the county auditor prior to proceeding with the submission of a tax levy to the electors of the village. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, members thereto concurring that Section 1. The village council has preliminarily determined that it is necessary to levy a tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation for the benefit of the residents of Greenhills for street repair and maintenance expenses for the village as authorized by Section 5705.19A of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 2, the levy to be placed upon the tax list is a renewal levy. Section 3, Village Council hereby requests information from the county auditor related to the current total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a levy of tax at a rate not exceeding 1.5 mils for each $1 valuation. Section 4, the clerk of the village council is hereby directed to immediately certify to the county auditor this resolution and obtain from the county auditor the information requested hereunder. Section 5, this resolution shall be passed in full and take effect from and after its passage. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, we've had a resolution moved and seconded. Any questions or comments?
Just to comment on, we talked about in the finance report, this is for our street and road repair, And it is absolutely essential for the operation of paving of streets, plowing, striping, et cetera, of our streets. And it's essential for us to have funds available for matching grants, such as the Winton Road Phase 2 project, where we need $240,000 of match to get $400,000 in grant money.
Any other comments, questions? Okay, we have resolution number 2014-10-F, resolution requesting information from the county auditor for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Have a roll call, please.
Roll call.
Aye.
Dries.
Aye.
Halter.
Aye.
Hermes.
Aye.
Lee.
Aye.
Okay, resolution carries. Resolution 2014-10-F passes. And,
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to, we have a need for executive session.
wait.
Oh, not yet.
I need somebody to do a motion to concur with my appointment of Dave Adams to the Planning Commission.
I'm jumping ahead.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we concur with your appointment of Mr. Dave Adams to the Planning Commission for the term expiring 2020.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, any questions? All those in favor of the motion, say yay.
Yay.
Those opposed, nay. Hearing none, the motion carries.
I'd like to move us to executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
Okay,
Second.
okay. We'll move to executive session. And
You would want to move to amend the agenda to add an executive session? And then, do you want to do your calendar after that and then go into executive session?
Probably do the
yeah,
calendar.
let's do the calendar, because we won't have any business after the executive session.
We'll do some amending
So
right
does he
now.
need to withdraw his motion?
Yes, he can.
I withdraw my
So,
motion.
so what he would do is move to amend the agenda to add an executive session.
Post the calendar.
All right,
I move to amend the agenda to conclude with an executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
I'll second that motion.
all those in favor, am I supposed to say aye or yay?
Aye
Aye.
and no.
Aye,
Nays are for horses.
okay.
Remember that.
I believe that's a go.
Whatever.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Got to be roll call, doesn't it?
This is just to amend the
Amend.
agenda.
Oh, amend the agenda. Aye.
Okay, those opposed to no, ayes have it. Okay, calendar?
Design and beautification on June 5th. Community Day at the pool, June 14th. Movie night, Friday night, 8:30. Thank you, May 30th.
Take your garbage cans in on Wednesdays.
Third Tuesday of the month in June, 7 o'clock, whatever that number is.
Does the 19th sound right? The third Thursday?
Third Tuesday.
Third Tuesday would be the 17th.
17th. Recreation Commission meeting.
Intergovernmental Laws and Rules, June 13th, that's Friday, at 10 a.m. in this very room.
First concert on the Common, June 14th, Wednesday, or June
June
4th. 4th. Sorry.
Traffic and Safety Committee meeting on Tuesday, June 24th at 5:30.
Okay, that's it? All right, now you can do your
I make a
executive
motion
session.
that we move to executive session for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
Second.
The roll call?
Halter.
Aye.
Hermes.
Aye.
Lee.
Here.
Brokaw.
Did you say Drees?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Roll call.
Aye.
Okay, Drees.
Aye.
Okay.
Okay.
At least said here. Here. Let's roll call.
Dave Adams, yeah. What was that?
For an executive session.